Ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 o'clock, but the clock that I'm staring at says 3:58, and so we will give folks 2 minutes to settle in. Ready? Ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the March 10th meeting of the Veterans and Military Affairs Committee, and we will be JFing bills. Unfortunately, we have a sad new tradition in this committee where we're going to begin today's work acknowledging that we still have an ongoing military conflict in the Middle East. And since we met last, there was another U.S. soldier who has unfortunately passed away. And so I would like to ask for a moment of silence from the members of this committee and those in the audience while we acknowledge the loss and sacrifice of those abroad and their family members, and continued prayers for safety, health, and well-being, and the safe return home for all of our Connecticut servicemen and women and everyone who serves our great nation. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I am ready to get straight to the business's work, but before I do that, the committee's work, I'm going to ask my co-chair if you have any remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to say that I appreciate all the work that the bipartisan leadership of this committee did on these bills. And while a few of them still need some additional work after this JF meeting, I think we came to a good place, and I look forward to moving forward with these bills. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next, State Representative Ranking Member Mark Anderson.
Thank you. Just echo the words of the two chairs, but this is our last committee meeting. And I think for a short session, we've done great work for our veterans and military, made very good use of our time and have a good bunch of bills. Greatly enjoyed working with the members of the committee, and we couldn't have done it with our staff, partisan and nonpartisan. Big thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Anderson. Senator Gordon.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. And I echo what Representative Anderson said. I think we've done a lot of good work in a good way. Sad to see that we're going to be breaking up as a committee, but I'm sure there's stuff to do. And I just want to note that it looks like a lot of the JFS wording came on out at around 10 o'clock this morning. So in order to be thorough and deliberate, just as a heads up, I'm going to ask some questions on each JFS item so we can make certain that people know what the items are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Gordon, and I appreciate you holding us accountable to our transparency goals that we set at the beginning of the session. I want to just reiterate what Rep. Anderson said. This committee has worked really hard bipartisanly. Thank you for Senator Honig for bringing that up, but also our a small but mighty staff who are supporting this work, both the partisan and the nonpartisan staff, really kept us moving along in a way that I think was really effective and helpful to get us to get to all of our goals. So I want to thank everyone who supported us this session. Thank you. And I will now acknowledge Rep. Buckby.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just normally wouldn't be saying this, but I thought it was kind of good news for us to share. I just got a message from Representative Carpino, whose daughter was literally just accepted to the Naval Academy just now and sent the picture over. So congrats to her and congrats to her daughter. I think that's really cool news. Good for us all to share. Thank you, Madam Chair.
That is wonderful news. Congratulations to the Carpino family. So, well, without further remarks, I'd like to go through a list of our bills for our final action. I think that what would be best here is for me to sort of explain what we're trying to do in the spirit of full transparency, and sort of how we agreed to get to where we are. At the end of our agenda today, we have a bill that will be our aircraft carrier, and that bill will include a variety of bills that you all. Yes, Representative Boyd.
I don't mean to interrupt. Can you point us to where the S language is? We were just trying to dig through the S language.
Sam, do you want to send it out to everyone?
That would be very helpful.
Thank you. Sorry. All right, so all right. So I'm going to go through the bills. Feel free to ask lots of questions if you do. But we are building as a committee together, hopefully bipartisanly, hopefully unanimously, an aircraft carrier of all the bills that we consent on. The goal in doing this is that we will not have a strike all amendment on the floor. This gives everyone the opportunity to look at everything that we're agreeing on and build this aircraft carrier together. But what you see in the S language for the HERO Act for 2026 is our effort at from our discussion with screening leadership to consider what is going in there together. This is our opportunity to have conversations about it. This is our opportunity to build it together, and I look forward to doing just that. So for our first order of business on item number 3 on the agenda, SB 278, the goal is to JFS this bill to judiciary. This bill needs more work. We believe it's a mandatory referral. This is an act concerning military protective orders to address military interpersonal violence. This is a JFS. The work on this language is significantly changed from what was heard a couple of years ago. As many of you may remember, that bill had significant controversy. We believe that what we're moving forward is much more pragmatic within our existing system, and it addresses the concerns that were raised by the Connecticut Judicial Branch. And so we are JFSing that language to the Judiciary Committee, where they have much more practice navigating these issues. Can I move this to?
So moved.
Yep. Okay.
We'll speak on it.
Okay. Do I have a motion to JFS this bill to judiciary? Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Senator Gordon.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. This is something that is a JFS. Can you just let us know what has changed in the S part of it?
So changed from the public hearing or changed? I'm just going to summarize the sort of ethos of this bill. So this bill came from the Department of Defense. This is a request that has come over the last several years. Madeline Willett is our liaison between the DoD, and she makes recommendations for us to make policy changes that support military families in the region. She mentioned that sometimes there are instances where a military protection order is issued, and there potentially could be the case that it is not entertained as part of a risk protection order or an order of protection for a civilian. We believe that this is something they already can be considering. So the significant change is this is just giving them the opportunity to include this for consideration, which was not specifically referenced in statute before. Does that answer your question, Senator Gordon?
Yes, Madam Chairman, to a degree. I just was interested. So was there anything else changed that's in the S compared to the non-S?
Sure. I'm going to defer to Senator.
In the original language of the bill, there was a requirement that the judicial department go into a database to find these military protective orders and enter them into Connecticut's own database. And that requirement has been removed. That was one of the major changes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is that the only change that's in the S versus the non-S?
From the public hearing, that's the most significant change, yes.
No other changes?
Don't believe so off the top of my head, but do you have a change in mind? that
No,
you-
I just was asking, so.
Okay, the primary change was the change from the judicial branch to make that change, but it has changed significantly from what was heard last year.
Thank you.
Pat, Rep Boyd?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Just for, I'm trying to follow along, those of us in the cheap seats here. What's the LCO number for the clerk was so kind to send the S language. We just want to
2955.
2955. Thank you.
And I will start announcing the LCOs. I apologize. All right. Any other discussion? So all those in favor to JFS LCO 2955 to judiciary? Can we have a roll call vote? Clerk Sims? It's a roll call vote. Can we create this consent calendar?
But it's JFS, that's LCO. I'm fine.
Madam Chair, I move that we establish a consent calendar.
Mike? Can we open a consent?
Hi, good afternoon. So if I'm understanding correctly, a motion has been made to create a consent calendar and to place item number 1 from this agenda on said consent calendar. Is that
Sure.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. If the Madam Chair would ask, absent any,
Absent any objections to placing LCO 2955 on consent, I'll now entertain a roll call vote. Nope, I'm sorry, a motion to put it on the consent calendar made by Rep Boyd, seconded by Rep Gajewski. I apologize, everyone. Now, would the clerk take a roll call vote? Or nope, a consent. It's on a consent. I apologize. I'm sorry, folks. I'm having a hard time today. Yes. All right, the next item on the agenda is SB 279. This is a referral to the Environment Committee. There is no substitute language. The chair will entertain a motion to JF this bill to the Environment Committee. Don't we have to make the motion to move it and then add it to consent? Right? Yes, I know. Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make.
So Senator Honig made a motion. It looks like it was seconded by Rep Boyd. All those in favor, no, and can I have a motion to put it on consent?
So moved.
Made by Senator Gordon, seconded by Rep Boyd. All right. Moving forward without any objections. The next bill is SB 282. I'm now going to entertain a motion to JFS this bill to the floor. The new LCO is 2959. This is an act concerning the recommendations of the Veterans Graves Upkeep Working Group. The significant changes in this bill version is that it appropriates $100,000 to the Neglected Cemetery Fund, which is an existing pool of money, and it expands some of the eligible applicants of the fund to include neglected veterans' graves. Can I have a motion to JFS this bill to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I see a question from Senator Austin.
Under discussion, my concerns, is this only for public cemeteries, or is this for private cemeteries, like cemeteries run by religious organizations or private cemetery organizations, or is this just for public cemeteries?
This is a grant that can be applied into in the pool, and I can get back to you on the rules of that existing pool, but I believe that any cemetery could apply to have access to the funds for the upkeep.
Can have access to the funds, but are we making a broad statement relative, is this only concerning the grant? That's it? There's nothing else in this bill? That's what I'm trying to get to. Is there
So-
anything else in the bill?
In the public hearing, we were considering creating a metric for DCP to engage and create accountability for abandoned graves, but we have come to understand that that is not practical or actionable at this time.
So as of this moment, we are not making anybody accountable currently. We are providing a grant opportunity for cemeteries to apply for, but there is no accountability to the plethora of cemeteries that are out there.
This does, the language you'll read will show that there is existing statute that says that 3 veterans in any given community have to be appointed. That's no change from the current statute. That's already what exists currently. It's not creating new infrastructure to do that accountability.
But in that board, for each community, does a cemetery within that community have to provide data to that board for those veterans that are in those cemeteries?
If it does, there is no change, but I don't believe that that's already outlined in the existing statute.
Okay, I just want to make sure that if it's in there, that's something that I think that I'd be happy to move it forward.
Mhm.
But I don't think that private cemeteries have the capacity, and some of the religious cemeteries are barred from sort of letting people who know who is in their respective cemeteries. So I want to make sure that we are not putting onus on somebody to turn data over to an ad hoc committee.
I do not believe that this does this, but if you would like to discuss after and there's a change that needs to be made to protect against that, I'd be happy to talk about that. And I'm sure we can consider recommendations if that's necessary.
Thank
I
you.
do believe just the Veterans Grave Upkeep Working Group was tasked with trying to address what happens when folks file a complaint with the municipality and there is a veterans grave that's poorly attended and the town is not in a position to make recommendations for change. There is this existing pool of money. It does not appear that a veterans grave has specifically accessed that pool. And so what we're hoping this is doing is, without creating more infrastructure, more regulatory burden, we're funding an existing pool of money that already exists for this purpose, giving them additional money in case they suddenly see a increase in the number of requests. But technically, this pool of money was eligible for this service anyways.
And those cemeteries that have been abandoned, because they're all over the place, right?
Mhm.
Who is someone drives by, they see this abandoned cemetery, and to be clear, I'd like to see all cemeteries well tended, but that's just not the case. And in the case of an abandoned cemetery, is someone this ad hoc committee of 3, are they going to be responsible themselves to do something if the cemetery is not has no ownership per se?
I think that's really the problem that we face, is that there is no real responsible entity, and it doesn't seem like there is a state agency that wants to be responsible. And it's our hope that by creating access to this fund, we can see some remediations of these longstanding problems. But there is not a changed structure of accountability for neglected veterans' graves under this bill. I think that's the tragic reality of the way cemeteries, private cemeteries, were run for a long time, is that there used to be families who maintained these cemeteries, and the responsibilities for that cemetery maintenance was passed down intergenerationally. And now it appears that, as we see with a lot of things that were family businesses, that people are falling off in that sort of intergenerational service. And so that we are seeing lots of neglected headstones for veterans. That's where the Veterans Graves Working Group started. What would happen was those 3 folks would bring this to the chief municipal officer, who would then say, like, oh, this isn't the town's responsibility. So this pool, expanding this pool of money, gives them an avenue for remediation if they need it.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that we're not setting ourselves up for doing something that we're not going to be able to comply with doing. That's always been the problem with this particular situation broadly. And I appreciate that. And if I have any concerns, I'll bring them to you before a floor vote.
I appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Senator Austin. Any other questions? Yes, Senator Gordon.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just want to make certain I understand. um, And you may have already explained it, so I just want to make certain I'm clear. What is the change that makes this JFS compared to JF?
We linked it to section 3, the sum of $100,000 transferred to the general fund for the neglected cemetery account. That is S language, right? Lines 42 through 49.
And the other question I have is, there's this $100,000 fund, and let's say various municipalities apply for it, get it, and then there's zero money left, and other municipalities apply, won't be able to avail themselves of the fund, in which case they're going to have to pay for things themselves. Is that correct, given the way the wording is?
I don't think there's a change in accountability as it stands right now. And right now, when municipalities have complaints about poorly maintained cemeteries, the municipalities, in some cases, are remediating it, and in some cases are not.
But my question would be, is this meaning all municipalities then have to bear the cost if that fund gets all used? I'm just trying to make certain I understand.
I do not believe that responsibility is passed on to the municipality as an unfunded mandate, if I catch what you're saying.
I think they currently are responsible for that.
It says no municipality or employee, officer, or agent of municipality should be civilly or criminally liable for the undertaking of the care and maintenance of a burial ground or cemetery, as described in the subsection.
But I'm just trying to understand section 1B about the cost. Is that a cost they already are required to take on if a private person, trustee of the cemetery can't provide the upkeep and maintenance?
Yes.
I don't have a problem trying to make certain we keep the graves upkept. I just want to understand some of the nuts and bolts. So that's already their existing financial responsibility. We're not tagging a new
That is
mandate on. This is already an existing mandate on municipalities.
That is my understanding, yes.
Okay, I understand that then. Thank you.
Theoretically, this would absolve them of that financial responsibility if they avail themselves of the grant. I saw a hand raised towards my right. Yes, Representative Vale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I share some of the concerns of Senator Austin, and Senator Gordon. When we listen to public testimony, this bill, I thought had a mandate that each town was going to be required to take this on. Are they currently aware of that mandate? And do we even have a list of who this committee of 3 in each town? Is there a list? If there is, who's it filed with? Is there anywhere in statute what said what the expectation is of this? As I've been on this committee now for 8 years, and the first I'm hearing of this, that there's some type of mandate on the towns to take care of these. So there's already a mandate, or this creates a mandate.
I'm going to send you the OLR report that we shared with the Veterans Graves Working Group, which is how they generated our recommendations. I'm going to share you their recommendations separately. Do you want to give me a moment to stand at ease while I gather that information and share it with you? Thank you. I'm just going to give you a speculative answer on one of your questions, Kurt. Rep Vale, you asked if towns knew they had this responsibility. I'll just share that the Veterans Graves Working Group has been meeting sporadically since I have become chair, and when we shared them the OLR report that outlined current statute and other options for what might be improvements, much of that was a surprise to them.
again, we have the municipal reps that we require each town to have, which is good. I represent 4 towns. I got a feeling that if I call the first selectman of each of those towns, that this may not exist, or it may. But I feel like my time here that would have stumbled across this at some point. I have concerns about it. Don't feel we have it. Maybe this needs another year to kind of figure out what that expectation is. Sometimes we do things with good intentions, but we don't have the finished product that's going to work as well as it should. Again, sharing some of Senator Austin's concerns about is this going to apply to church groups and cemeteries? I have concerns about it, but I'll listen if there's any more conversation. I haven't decided yet.
I'll just say it might be helpful. I believe that Clerk Sims has indexed the work of the Veterans Graves Working Group on our landing page for the Veterans and Military Affairs Committee, so you can see the iterations that they considered. There was an earlier version of this bill. What we heard in the public hearing would have been a significant lift on DCP and create much more rigorous requirements. But in the end, what we compromised on was an option to move forward with simply the expansion of an existing grant program and clarifying that Veterans Graves would be eligible for that pool of money. If you have concerns, though, we could certainly do a roll call vote if that's helpful. Any other questions? Oh, and Representative Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We all want the veterans' grades to be taken care of. It seems like we're trying to do it by a mandate and central control and more state money when what we really need is grassroots ownership. I can say one of my towns, the American Legion and the Boy Scouts have taken ownership. So I think this is very well intended, a good cause, but not necessarily the right way to go. We should all take responsibility in our own towns and get involved if we see neglected graves. So well intended, but I don't think we need this bill. So I'll ask for a roll call. And I want to say I'm glad that the original version did have pretty severe mandates, even for private organizations. I think it required providing minutes and financial statements. So I'm glad that part is gone. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I see Rep. Buckby.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm listening to a lot of this. I think even your own comments about people not knowing that this was understood, I would think that this would be better suited as a study of some sort for the municipalities to understand what the issues are, how much work is needed, how much we're going to need across the board before we pass any new legislation on it. I think that's what I'm hearing from the good ranking member as well about he's got some that take care of it, some that don't, some people that know about it, some that don't. I mean, I just think the common sense side of me says I think I'd rather see this go as a study for this year and then bring it back with some solid ideas and numbers so that every municipality has that time to understand what's going on and to put something together. And I certainly wholeheartedly agree with the good ranking member as well, that I think that this ownership should be taken within the community and not a centralized state kind of thing. Of course, I've been out there. I don't know if any of you have ever done this. I've done a lot of genealogy where you rub the graves, you go out and try to find your genealogy. And sometimes they're in really bad shape. They're in disarray. A lot of our communities are very old. And it'd be great if we could have some people take that leadership and have the opportunity they don't know about right now before we put any mandates down on them or extend any of those mandates that they might not know about to put municipalities in a tough spot too. So I'm certainly willing to listen to other ideas. I'm just listening to what's being said now, and I think this would be better suited as a study going forward. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I think I'm hearing that this needs a roll call vote. Can I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair.
Hi, Senator Winfield.
Yeah, I have a question. I've been listening and I hear the talk of adding a mandate. I'm unclear as to what the added mandate is.
There is no added mandate in this current language. I think what our colleagues on the other side of the aisle are suggesting is that because people did not know this was a responsibility, adding the grant program for access to them reiterates a legal requirement.
But it also potentially assists with the mandate.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Winfield. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of a roll? Oh, we'll now take a roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a roll call vote on SB 282, an act concerning the recommendations of the Veterans Graves Upkeep Working Group. The motion is to joint favorable substitute to the floor with LCO number 2959. Senator Honig,
Yes.
Representative Foster,
Yes.
Senator Lesser, Rep. Delaney,
Yes. Yes.
Senator Gordon,
Yes.
Representative Anderson,
No.
Representative Boyd,
Boyd, aye.
Representative Buckby,
Reluctantly, yes.
Senator Ciccarella,
Yes.
Representative DiCaprio,
Yes.
Representative DiGiovancarlo, Senator Flexer, Representative Gajewski,
Yes.
Representative Heffernan,
Yes.
Representative Lanou,
Yes.
Representative Nolan,
Nolan, yes. Oh, sorry. Nolan, yes.
thank you. Senator Austin,
Senator Austin votes in the affirmative.
Representative Poulos,
Yes.
Representative Sanchez,
Yes.
Representative Santos,
Santos votes yes.
Representative Vale, Senator Winfield.
Senator Winfield, in the affirmative.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
We'll now move on to Roman numeral 3, sub item 4, SB number 3.
Madam Chair, apologies. Did you wish to hold votes open?
Oh, we will hold, I'm sorry, I thought I said that at the end of the meeting. We will hold votes open until 5:30. Is that okay? Good. No opposition. All right. The next agenda item is going to be SB 377, an act establishing a personal income tax deduction for military funeral honor guard detail compensation. And I'd like to entertain a motion to JF this bill to the floor.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Yes, Representative Delaney. Okay. Any other comment? Can I have a motion to add this to the consent?
So moved.
Moved by Rep. Boyd, seconded by Senator Gordon. Yes, we are. Okay. Without objection, moving on to House Bill 5292, an act exempting certain sales to military and veterans related organizations from the sales and use taxes. I'd like to entertain a motion to JFHB 5292 to the floor. I heard moved and seconded. I'm going to guess that that was moved by Rep. Delaney and seconded by Rep. Heffernan. Can I have a motion to add this to the consent calendar?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Senator Gordon, seconded by Rep. Boyd. Thank you, gentlemen. So neighborly.
It's the Woodstock connection.
Without objection, moving on. House Bill 5294, an act concerning the Adjutant General's recommendations regarding the military department. I'm going to entertain a motion to JFS this bill to the floor and moved by Rep. Gajewski, seconded by Rep. Delaney. I would like to explain how we got to where we are right now in this language. So we are working. Oh, the LCO number is 2964. So this JFS language is based on request from our ranking members based on caucus preferences. They would like a separate vote on sections 1 and 2 of what was originally recommended by the Adjutant General. The other parts, without concern, are going to be added to the aircraft carrier. But because sections 1 and 2, the specific references to gender neutrality gave members, ranking members pause, we agreed to give this bill a separate vote. I would now like to entertain any commentary. Representative Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know this comes across as somewhat of a technical revision, but the State Guard, I understand, hasn't been used since maybe World War II. But it would have the effect of that the governor could draft females, which the federal government doesn't do. I don't know if any states allow it in the State Guard, and I think that warrants a fuller discussion. I certainly think men and women are equal. I know plenty of females that are superior to me in many ways. But the law still allows females to join voluntarily. So I do object to us going forward this today. Thank you.
Any other commentary? I'm going to recognize Senator Austin first. Sorry, Hubert.
Personally, I believe in the draft. So you're talking to someone who actually believes in the draft. I joined the Army in 1973 and I went active duty in 1974, which just talks more about my age than anything else. And I always felt that I could do any of the jobs in an equal manner to any of my colleagues that were serving in the military with me. There's a lot that's changed for women in the service, and I think we should be recognized as equals, and that would mean that we have the same consequences as our male counterparts. And so I think that we should include anything that makes us all on the same level. And again, I believe in a draft. I think it's important because I think that the only way people understand what it's like to be in the military is to actually have some service. And so many countries do have an active draft, and they draft women also. And so I think that that's something that eventually someday, well, if we continue to go to conflict, not necessarily war, but to conflict, I think that we'll get to a point where all of us face those consequences. And so I'm not necessarily committing people to go to a conflict, but I am committing people to serve our country in some fashion or another through some form of a required component that happens after high school. Through you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Austin. I saw Rep. Delaney had his hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I just want to align myself with the comments of Senator Austin. And I will say briefly, while I respect the good gentleman's opinion, the price of freedom has always been high, and it's always been a price that Connecticut has been willing to pay. But the cost of that price is owned equally by Connecticut's sons and Connecticut's daughters. And that's my feeling on that.
Thank you, Rep. Delaney. Any other comments? I presume this will go to a roll call vote. Seeing no other comments, can I call a roll call vote? Clerk Sims?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a roll call vote on HB 5294, an act concerning the Adjutant General's recommendations regarding the military department, and the action is to joint favorable substitute this to the floor with LCO number 2964. Senator Honig.
Yes.
Representative Foster.
Yes.
Senator Lesser. Representative Delaney.
Yes.
Senator Gordon.
Yes.
Representative Anderson.
No.
Representative Boyd.
Boyd, aye.
Representative Buckby.
No.
Senator Ciccarella.
Yes.
Representative DiCaprio.
No.
Representative DiGiovancarlo. Senator Flexer. Representative Gajewski.
Yes.
Representative Heffernan.
Yes.
Representative Lanu.
No.
Representative Nolan.
Nolan in the affirmative.
Senator Austin.
Senator Austin votes in the affirmative.
Representative Poulos.
Poulos votes yes.
Senator Sanchez. Representative, sorry.
Yes.
Representative Santos.
Santos votes yes.
Representative Vale.
No.
Senator Winfield.
Senator Winfield, in the affirmative.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Sims, or Clerk Sims. I apologize, and thank you to everyone for your votes and what was an interesting conversation. The next bill on our agenda is House Bill 5295, an act naming the Connecticut National Guard Readiness Center in the town of Putnam. This is a JF to the floor. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I see a motion from Rep. Boyd. I was going to say, I was going to entertain a second from the good Senator Gordon. Any discussion? Senator Gordon.
I'll just say it's a good bill. I encourage everybody to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gordon. No comment from you, Representative Boyd. All right. Do I have a motion to add this to the consent calendar? I heard moved by Rep. Delaney, seconded by somewhere in this vicinity. Rep. Ville. Without objection, it's been added to the consent calendar. The next item is HB 5296, an act establishing a personal income tax deduction for National Guard active duty pay. The motion is a JFS to the floor, and I am going to double check, but I believe that the LCO is 2965, but I am a little discombobulated. 2965 is correct. Do I have a motion? Moved by Rep. Delaney.
Second.
Seconded by Senator Honig. Any discussion? Yes, Senator Gordon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know that this is a JFS. I just want to make certain I understand. What is the S part that's changed?
This substitute language changes from active duty to state active duty, which is the testimony of NAGAC. I don't know if you remember, but there was a moment in time where we thought we were going to provide a very significant tax exemption for all active duty pay. As it turns out, that would have been very, very significant and broader than the original intention of the legislation, though maybe that's something we consider someday. But for now, it's just for state active duty.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other discussion?
Move to add the consent.
I see a motion from Rep. Boyd to add this to the consent calendar. Any second? Hearing no objection. That was from Rep. Heffernan, the second. No objection. It's moved to consent. The next bill is, I apologize. House Bill number 5298, an act establishing a grant program for veterans related capital expenditure projects. This is a JFS to the floor, and the LCO, I believe, is 2966. Someone manufacturing.
So moved.
All right. So moved by Senator Honig, seconded by Rep. Delaney. Any comments or questions? Yes, Senator Gordon.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. This is a JFS. I'm just interested in what is the S part.
This clarifies the projects that are eligible to apply for the grant. This grant program is something that I've discussed with several of you since we've started. Every year we get nonprofit organizations, we get legislators reaching out to us saying that they have an organization that's doing great work or a veterans monument that needs maintenance. But what happens is then you leave it to a bunch of legislators to negotiate which program should be promoted or demerited. And so I thought we've seen really good, robust grant programming through the Department of Agriculture, for example, where they have a competitive grant application process and they're funding projects that are helping, any number of our communities, and that the Department of Veterans Affairs could appropriately administer a grant program to support municipal improvements to veterans monuments. For example, if new names need to be added to a monument, or if there is an organization that's, for example, this was an ask, building a ramp on a veteran's home that needs accessibility improvements, that those could be funded through a program such as this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Seeing none, can I have a motion to move this to consent? Moved by Rep. Heffernan, seconded by Rep. Delaney. Seeing no objection. Thank you very much, folks. The next item on the agenda is HB number 5407, an act concerning state reimbursement to municipalities for revenue lost due to the property tax exemption for veterans with a 100% permanent and total disability rating. The motion is to JF this to the floor.
So moved.
I heard it moved by Senator Honig, seconded by Rep. Boyd. Any discussion? Yes, Senator Gordon.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just want to say, I think, I know we looked into doing something like this last year, and I appreciate that this is coming through the committee. And I think it is good to do. I think the property tax exemption that was put in for the 100% permanent and total disability rating is a good one. And I think what we can do to try to help the municipalities with it is good as well. So I just want people to know this is in no way taking away from that tax exemption. I know there's been some concerns in some veteran communities that this legislative session, there might be an effort to try to peel back some of that. And I've been telling them, no, I'm not aware of any. So I just want to make certain they realize that that this bill has nothing to do with changing that tax exemption if they're eligible for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gordon. I see a hand from Senator Austin.
So thank you very much, and I appreciate everybody's comments on this. I'll vote to get it out of committee, but I'm opposed to this philosophically. I really think that when people have no skin in the game, and when less than 1% of the people in this great nation bother to serve in our armed forces, that without any understanding of what the actual cost is to conflicts, because we rarely go to war anymore, we have conflicts, that there is no understanding of what happens. And so when I pay attention to this all the time, and so we've had 7 service members who have died in the recent conflict with Iran. But they're not the ones that they get talked about. They're the only ones that get talked about. We had a bombing where 100 service members recently have experienced traumatic brain injury. They don't get talked about. They don't. When someone loses an arm or a leg, and in the State of the Union, we had a service member who lost both his legs in a plane accident in the Venezuela conflict. That person is going to have problems the rest of their lives. And I think that, it's nice for every municipality to have a Memorial Day parade. And I've been thinking about this an awful lot. Everybody's great to have a Memorial Day parade, and we're going to put a flag in our yard. What is the consequence for you to understand what those men and women have to go through? So right now, I'm a Vietnam era veteran. I served overseas. I was not in combat. I was stationed about 300 miles north of Tokyo. So I wasn't down in Okinawa where many of the Navy folks were. And my ex-husband and I were stationed in Japan. And he died from the consequences of a brain tumor that they believe he got from his military service, and we were in many of the same places together, but not all. I just don't think people are really, and I say this with all due respect, I'm not putting anybody down. But I think that there has to be an understanding of what happens when our men and women go to a conflict. And I say this all the time. Yes, I hear that municipalities have a hard time with their budgets. I can tell you the men and women who have lost limbs, the men and women who have traumatic brain injury, the men and women who have the consequences of being in conflict lost much more than the small dollar amounts that the municipalities lose. And if we don't understand what happens when people go into conflict, we're never going to deal with the issues that are as a result of that conflict. Now, I mentioned that I'm a Vietnam era veteran, and I'm the post commander for the American Legion in my town. And I have a Purple Heart recipient. I have a Korean War veteran in my, who was the Purple Heart recipient, served over in Vietnam in combat. He was in combat. Another one of my colleagues was in combat over in Vietnam. One of them tried to commit suicide today, in today's world, because Vietnam happened a long time ago, and you could say that that person shouldn't have any more issues as a result of that war, but they were busy. They were raising families. And when they stopped raising families, they started remembering what happened to their friends who didn't come home. And so I just, that's really why I think that this is truly, for me, a philosophical difference in what we should or should not take on as a responsibility. So I appreciate everybody's concern about veterans. I do. And I recognize that other people have a difference of opinion on this one. Thus, I will vote to get it out of committee, but I will not vote for it on the floor because I'm philosophically opposed to people not understanding the consequences of a conflict on people. So thank you. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you, Senator Austin. I see Rep. Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I certainly don't disagree with a good senator about respecting our veterans, especially those who were wounded in combat. And this law was very well intended, but I'm hearing every week from my towns about the pressure this is putting on the property taxes. This is a mandate from the state. One town has a lower grand list than 3 years ago because of this and what we did with the car tax. So I think if we feel they're deserving, I think it's better to spread the cost from the general fund than really continuing to crush the towns by putting pressure on their property tax. We do have a Yukon study going on to look at all of our veteran property tax exemption, and hope will come away to streamline, simplify that, and how to pay for it. So I support this bill. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Anderson. Did you want to speak? All right. The next person I saw a hand up from either Rep. Buckby or Rep. Vale. Okay, Rep. Vale.
Yes, thank you. We've been having this discussion for a number of years. I've always believed in the concept, but that if we're making decisions here at the Capitol, we should be funding those decisions we make. I don't think anyone should be belittled of how much they care about veterans based on whether they support municipal property tax exemptions. I never served in the military, but my great-grandfather fought in the Civil War. My grandfather fought in World War I. Yes, do the math. My great-grandfather fought in the Civil War. I see you. I can explain it. He was 57. His dad was 31. My dad was 47 when I was born. I actually had 3 brothers serve in Vietnam. My dad served in World War II. My oldest brother, Keith, was in Vietnam when I was born, 21 years old. Two of my brothers were exposed to Agent Orange. Both got cancer. One died in 2000, and my other brother lives in Nevada now and does get presumptive disability for his prostate cancer. Certainly helps him pay his bills, but it doesn't, it doesn't make up for what he lost in life. So I certainly care a lot about what happens to veterans and want to do anything we can to help our disabled veterans. But if we're going to make decisions here at the Capitol, then we should take responsibility for it. I felt that all along, and I think this is the right fix to do just that and take that onus that we put on the municipalities and make it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Buckby.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be fairly brief with this. I wholeheartedly agree with what my good colleague just said, although I don't have any that close of a relative to the Civil War, but I appreciate that. I had a conversation about this topic specifically with a friend of mine the other day. He is 100% permanent and total disabled. He is a recipient of Purple Heart 3 times over, and he has done a lot of work within his municipality and has seen the work that he's been doing in the municipality hindered by what we've put forward up here. I think we put a great concept forward several years back. I fought hard to get this piece of legislation in, as many people here did. This is good legislation, but we didn't follow through properly to fund it properly. And like Rep. Vail just said, if we're going to put a mandate on a town, let's back it up from the state level. We can't be doing that to our municipalities. We're doing the right thing. Municipalities could very well have done some of this on their own. They just can't afford to do so. And part of it's because of what we keep doing to them. So in the name of my dear friend, I'm certainly, I'm co-sponsoring this bill, and I most certainly will be voting yes for this bill. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We have requested a roll. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Senator Gordon.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. And I just want to say, this is a very good bill. And I think there's two different issues that don't necessarily connect from A to B. One is wanting to show continued respect and honor for those who have served and for their families. And I don't think any of us disagree with that. In fact, this was a great effort to have this tax exemption brought out, a new tax exemption. And that's certainly very good, something certain veterans did not have. And it did not take away from any of the other tax exemptions that they might be eligible for. And there were some fixes last year and a lot of discussion, even outside of committee, about what to do with fixes. And there was a realization that we were hearing from a lot of municipalities, I certainly did, based upon revenue, municipal revenue, they just weren't getting. And it wasn't that they were saying, well, we should take this tax exemption away. Rather, it was, if you're going to mandate something, then back it up and pay for it. And that's something we hear all the time from municipalities is this mandate, that mandate, another mandate. It does add up. I don't think it's a small amount. I can cite some towns that it's quite sizable in communities that struggle to pass budgets because people cannot afford Connecticut. And we need to keep that in mind. So having this tax exemption in is another way of honoring and respecting veterans and their families. Absolutely. And I think we should be proud as a committee that this was put into place and we protected it last year and looked to give some municipal options, knowing that more mandates couldn't have been done from an affordability point of view. But I don't see that there's any nexus to tag it to saying that people should pay higher property taxes for them to show respect and honor. I can cite Stafford, my good colleague Rep. Vail and I are honored to go and speak at a big veteran ceremony. And Stafford has a huge number of veterans, very proud, very active. And the outpouring from the community of people who have never served that come on out for events like that, sincerely are coming on out to support the veterans is tremendous. They don't need a higher property tax to motivate them for that. They do it. And in that community, for example, and all the other 12 communities I represent, there's huge outpouring of support in different ways. So when we're looking at trying to help our veterans and their families, I don't have a problem per se, but it gets to a bigger issue that if we're looking to also do things not just for them, but for the broader population of people out there, hardworking families, people, their families, seniors who might be on fixed incomes, job creating small businesses, even municipalities that struggle to make ends meet for various reasons. In a state that's more and more unaffordable for more and more people, we should not be piling more unaffordability onto them. If you look at a lot of towns that had budgets and had votes, many towns went through multiple budget votes that failed because people coming out saying they just can't afford the property taxes. So I think we can have both of these issues. We can be respecting and honoring our veterans through something like this property tax that was put into place, and continue to address that needs very much to be addressed much more by this legislature, affordability, and pay for the various mandates that the legislature puts into place. To me, one doesn't preclude the other or limit the other. We can have both and not take away from honoring and respecting our veterans. That's my opinion. And I do respect people may have different opinions, and that's fine. But I think that's important that we keep in mind what we're trying to do, and there's more than one thing we're trying to do. And this bill is very good to try to help municipalities that otherwise have to pay for this in property taxes going up. Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate the civil disagreement had by the members of the committee. And with no further discussion, I believe that we can entertain a motion for this to be on consent. Oh, no, I'm sorry, a roll call vote. I apologize. Someone asked for it to be a roll call vote. I apologize. Mr. Clerk, please call a roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a roll call vote on HB 5407, an act concerning state reimbursement to municipalities for revenue loss due to the property tax exemption for veterans with a 100% permanent and total disability rating, and the motion is to JF to the floor. Senator Honig,
Yes.
Representative Foster,
Yes.
Senator Lesser, Representative Delaney,
Yes.
Senator Gordon,
A strong yes.
Representative Anderson,
Yes.
Representative Boyd,
Boyd, aye.
Representative Buckby,
Oh, yes.
Senator Ciccarella,
Yes.
Representative DiCaprio,
DiCaprio, yes.
Representative DiGiancarlo, Senator Flexer, Representative Gajewski,
Yes.
Representative Heffernan,
Yes.
Representative Lanou,
Yes.
Representative Nolan, Senator Austin,
Senator Austin votes in the affirmative.
Representative Poulos,
Poulos votes yes.
Representative Sanchez,
Yes.
Representative Santos,
Santos in the affirmative.
Representative Vale,
Yes.
Senator Winfield.
Senator Winfield, in the affirmative.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Mr. Clerk, the next bill that we have on our agenda is House Bill, hang with me, gentlemen, there's a little while longer to go. House Bill 5412, an act establishing the Military Department Emergency Response Act. The motion is a JF to the floor. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Rep. Delaney, seconded by Rep. Gajewski. It's a straight JF. Do I have a motion? Any discussion? Motion to put it on consent.
So moved.
Thank you. Motion by Rep. Boyd, seconded by Rep. Delaney. Without objection, that moves to consent. Number 12, House Bill number 5415, an act establishing a Veterans Healthcare Ombudsman for the coordination and oversight of state and local resources in navigating federal veterans healthcare benefits. The motion is a JFS to the floor, and I believe the LCO is 2969, but give me 1 second to double check. That sounds correct. Okay. And can I have a motion to
So moved.
moved by Senator Honig, seconded by Rep. Delaney. Any discussion? Yes, Senator Gordon, go right ahead. Oh,
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I'm just interested in what is the S part that's changed from the JF part?
this substitute language moves the new Veterans Healthcare Ombudsman position from the OGA to the Office of the Health Advocate. This was recommendations by the testimony off of the Office of the Healthcare Advocate, and we felt like that was appropriate because they were doing the most similar work, that they'd have aligned staffing and resources.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Yes, Representative Anderson.
We are, if I understand correctly, we're creating a new position,
That is correct.
which, so we'll have a fiscal note. Was this in the governor's budget?
It was not.
So I'm on the fence on this one. We didn't have a lot of testimony. The job description certainly is very good. I don't know if anyone can help me understand how do we know we need the position? Are we hearing in the field? Is there anything? I appreciate any thoughts on that.
Thank you. Actually, Ombudsman Painter last year brought us a piece of legislation. It actually came through either Senate or House Republican staff through aging, that we actually have a long-term care facility shortage, particularly in spots for veterans. And it was the Office of the Health Advocate who helped us understand that a minor statutory change could open up significant access to veterans' long-term care placements in these beds. What we learned after making that change is, although it addressed the bottleneck in some regions, there's not even just a bottleneck in some regions. There are certain areas that there's a total dearth of access to care for VA-sponsored spaces. And so there are a variety of different things that an individual can do as they're navigating that sort of highest level of skill necessary when you're aging in place and you're navigating healthcare challenges. And it is our hope that a role like this can help folks get their maximum federal benefits, covering the best facility available closest to home, and help us understand any other statutory changes that we might be able to make in the future to support veterans aging in the communities that they live in. Yes, go ahead.
So I'm hesitant if are we thinking of including this in the HERO Act?
It is not in the HERO Act at this moment.
Were you putting the other items in the HEROES Act that we put on the consent calendar? I'm not clear on that.
No, right now the consent calendar is separate. Those bills likely will end up being referred through screening to other committees and then determining how their outcomes are in those other committees. Then they can be options for consideration for the HERO Act. But right now, the next bill that I'm going to talk about on the agenda includes a variety of bills that were already.
Yeah, I
in the
wasn't
HERO
sure.
Act.
Some things said at the beginning of the meeting, I thought
Mhm.
other things were going to be added to that HERO Act.
Yeah.
So I'm okay moving this forward because we should be very deliberate when we grow state government. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Anderson. Rep. Vale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So would the ombudsman work for the DVA or the Office of the Healthcare Advocate?
It would work for I'm sorry, it would work for the Office of the Healthcare Advocate position. Originally, it was in the DVA.
Okay.
Or
I understand that connection, but I feel if we have someone in this position that they should be working with our municipal reps and our VSOs and stuff like that. So they all fall under the department. So that I'm concerned that there might be a disconnect there that doesn't already exist.
Rep. Vail, you raise a very interesting point, and that is that our municipal vet reps and our veteran service officers have a plethora of materials that are available to them for their consideration and offering to help for veterans advocacies, and they have a disjointed sort of system of training and standardization, and that is why one of our other pieces of legislation this year is to create sort of a standard book of all of the programs and services that may be offered, of which this and our separately veterans housed programs in the Department of Labor might be afforded to those municipal vet reps and BSOs.
Okay. All right.
Seeing no other comments, can I entertain a motion to add this to the consent? I see a move by Heffernan, a second by Rep. Delaney, and hearing no further objection, the next bill that I am going to raise is House Bill number 5406, an act concerning an award honoring the heroic wartime service of certain veterans and reserve members of the armed forces and minor and technical revisions, also known as the Connecticut Hero Act, if you'd be so inclined. This bill includes, hold on one second, let me take a deep breath. This bill includes, can I entertain a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Rep. Honig, seconded by Rep. Delaney. This substitute language is pretty expansive. It's LCO 2890. And this substitute language includes language from the following bills. SB 280, an act concerning the legislative commissioner's recommendations for minor and technical revisions to statutes related to veterans and military affairs, less the portions that were objected.
Oh, I was just going to confirm that LCO number. I had 2970 on
Oh.
my records. I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
that was the language that was sent out.
That is not, okay. You are right, 2970, I'm sure. Okay, so, all right, so I apologize for misreading the LCO, 2970. So again, this is the SB 280, less the portions that were objected to by the ranking members. Additionally, SB 281, an act establishing a task force to study means of encouraging more nursing homes in the state to contract with the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. Also, SB 283, an act concerning members of the armed forces, veterans, and the Department of Motor Vehicles. SB 376, an act concerning warnings and other measures on the Department of Veterans Affairs internet website for the protection of veterans against certain providers of assistance with veterans benefit claims. Additionally, it includes much of House Bill 5294, an act concerning the Adjutant General's recommendations regarding the military department. Additionally, HB 5297, an act concerning qualified veterans charitable organizations and the Department of Veterans Affairs internet website. House Bill 5408, an act concerning training for veteran service officers and municipal providers of veterans assistance. The language here is changed only to cover the veteran service officers. House Bill 5413, an act establishing a veterans dental care access program. And House Bill 5414, an act concerning military families and enrollment in birth to 3 programs. Any comments or questions? Representative Vail.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you may know, I don't even like the word aircraft carrier. But
We
I
can call it
understand.
whatever you would like.
Okay.
Contingency reserve bill.
But I understand, and these are all things that were vetted and had a public hearing. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And was agreed upon by the parties that went through screening that these would fall in line.
That is correct.
Okay. Is there any intention, like the bills we pass today individually, they won't be added to this later on, will they?
There are certain sections of these bills that are getting referred to other committees where they very well may not pass out of those other committees. If they pass out of those other committees, I believe that if we have a discussion and it's bipartisanly agreed upon by leadership of this committee, we could consider it included in this contingency reserve bill, if you so please.
Again, even though these things met the criteria that I mentioned earlier, I do have concerns, even if we all agree in here, that there could be members. There's 187 members of the General Assembly, and I don't know how many are on this committee. 20. So there could be
But
people.
20 of the best.
Yes, and there could be people that voices aren't being heard in here that might have an issue with one of the bills. So that's what it's not. Things went through the process, but we kind of take away people's ability to, you know, there might be something they don't like in one of these other bills. So I'll vote for the bill today. I appreciate, you know, the work put into it and doing it. If you're going to do it, this is the time to do it in committee. I hope we don't add more to it. I hope to be able to vote on those other bills individually, whether, you know, however they fare in other committees. But again, I just want to voice my concern about what can happen when we do stuff like this. But if we're going to do it, if we're going to bake the bread, let's do it in the committee process and not have a strike all amendment on the House floor or the Senate floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Vale. And I will tell you, my goal is to avoid a strike all amendment at all ability within me. I think in this building, we know you never say never. But I will also tell you, out of respect and deference to the minority party leadership and knowing how they stand on this, we reached out not just to the ranking members, but also to the leaders of your caucuses as well. And it seems as though the transparency in this process is appreciated, and it's just our effort. It's our goal is to try and get as much legislation supporting veterans and military families as possible through in a short session. And as you know, that's a Herculean lift. So I appreciate your concerns, and we'll do our best to mitigate them as we move forward. I see Senator Gordon.
Thank you. And I do appreciate the comments from my good colleague, Representative Vale. I'll vote for this to move this out. Doesn't imply what I'll do on the Senate floor. And I appreciate the good faith effort that you have mentioned, but not knowing what may happen overall on the Senate floor, not so much with this bill, but other things as well. Certainly reserve what one may or may not do about it, including what my caucus may or may not do. So I'll vote it right now in good faith, working with the chairs to move it out. But I just want to highlight that caveat.
Sometimes the mood changes and we're not really sure why. So that's sometimes things change. Well, anyways, in this building, we can never make any commitments. So I really appreciate everyone's honest trust in us to do our best moving forward to get these bills forward. Can I have a motion to move this to the consent calendar, please? All of those are hearing no objection. It's been added to consent. The next item is House Bill number 5409, an act concerning troops to trade initiatives. And the motion is a JFS to the floor. It is LCO 2934.
I have a different one, ma'am.
Okay.
Number 3056.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So this is one of our committee priority bills. It had significant separate conversations, which is why we are still holding it separate by request of our ranking members. So this is troops to trades. Can I have a motion to? Motioned by Senator Honig, seconded by Rep. Heffernan. All those in favor, or any discussion?
Moves to add to consent.
A motion to add to consent by Rep. Boyd, seconded by Rep. Heffernan. Hearing no objection. Guys, I wasn't really sure we were going to make it through that. Thank you. All right. So with that, the committee will hold.
Calendar vote.
Oh, now we need a roll call vote for the consent calendar. Clerk Sims.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a roll call vote on the consent calendar, which contains item number 1, Senate Bill 278. The motion is to joint favorable substitute to judiciary with LCO number 2955. Item number 2, SB 279. The motion is to JF to environment. Item number 4, SB 377. The motion is to JF to the floor. Item number 5, HB 5292. The motion is to JF to the floor. Item number 7, HB 5295, the motion is to JF to the floor. Item number 8, HB 5296, the motion is to JFS to the floor with LCO number 2965. Item 9, HB 5298, the motion is to JFS to the floor with LCO number 2966. Item 11, HB 5412, the motion is to JF to the floor. Item 12, HB 5415, the motion is to JFS to the floor with LCO number 2969. Item 13, HB 5406, the motion is to JFS to the floor with LCO number 2970. And item number 14, HB 5409, the motion is to JFS to the floor with LCO number 3056. Senator Honig,
Yes.
Representative Foster,
Yes.
Senator Lesser, Representative Delaney,
Yes.
Senator Gordon,
Yes.
Representative Anderson,
Yes.
Representative Boyd,
Boyd, aye.
Representative Buckby,
Aye.
Senator Ciccarello, Representative DiCaprio,
DiCaprio, yes.
Representative DiGiovancarlo,
Giancarlo, yes.
Senator Flexer,
Senator Flexer votes yes.
Representative Gajewski,
Rep. Gajewski votes yes.
Representative Heffernan,
Heffernan votes yes.
Representative Lanu,
Yes.
Representative Nolan, Senator Austin, Representative Poulos,
Rep. Poulos votes yes.
Representative Sanchez,
Yes.
Representative Santos,
Santos votes yes.
Representative Vale,
Yes.
Senator Winfield.
Senator Winfield, in the affirmative.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So we will hold votes open until 5:30, and we will see you all in the chamber when we see you next. We're at recess.
Hello, Senator Ciccarello. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you? I was trying to get it down before. Sorry.
No worries. The only votes you missed are. Let me just double check. Hello, Senator Ciccarello. How are you doing? The only votes you missed are for. Looks like it's just the consent calendar. Let me just.
Yes.
Sounds good. You're all set. Thank you.
Yes, we got it. Great. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Okay, Sam, I was just making sure it was just a consent calendar, so have a great day.
You too. Thank you very much. Hello, Senator. How are you doing? So just as an update, there are 4 roll call votes. One is on the consent calendar, which is everything other than the ones that are being said. There is one on Senate Bill 282, one on House Bill 5294, and one on House Bill 5407.
Hi, are you ready for me?
Yep. Did
Okay,
you want
great.
me to reread the bill numbers again?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear.
Oh yeah, no worries. So there is SB 282. That's an act concerning the recommendations of the Veterans Graves Upkeep Working Group. That has a roll call vote. 5294, an act concerning the Adjutant General's recommendations regarding the military department. 5407. That is
Yeah. Okay. So the Senate Bill 282.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm sorry. This is a roll call vote, so people voted no on it.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Can you put me in support of 282?
Yep.
Okay. And what's the next bill?
Next bill is 5294. That's an act concerning the recommendations of the Adjutant General's recommendations regarding the military department. The motion was to JFS to the floor.
Please put me down in support.
Mhm. Next up is 5407. An act concerning the state reimbursement to municipalities for revenue lost due to the property tax exemption for veterans with a 100% permanent and total disability rating. The motion was to JF to the floor.
Okay. Please put me down. Yes.
Alrighty. And then last but not least is the consent calendar with everything else on it.
Okay. Okay. Good. I'll be in support.
Thank you, thank you. And could you just turn your camera on real quick too?
Oh, yes.
Alrighty, we're all set. Thank you.
All right. Terrific. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too, thank you.
How are you doing? Well, when you're ready, the bills, the only votes you're missing are on a roll call vote for 5407 to J and to the floor, and a roll call vote on the consent calendar.
Can you hear me?
Yep, it's a little choppy, but I can hear you. Yeah.
All right.
One more time, sorry.
Hi, Mr. Clerk.
Senator, the only votes you are missing are SB 282, that's a JFS to the floor, SB 5294, or HB 5294, also a JFS to the floor.
Mr. Clerk, do you mind just reading me the titles and not the bill numbers? I'm so sorry.
No worries. 282 is an act concerning the recommendations of the Veterans Graves Upkeep Working Group. 5294 is an act concerning the Adjutant General's recommendation regarding the military department. And 5407 is an act concerning state reimbursement to municipalities for revenue loss due to the property tax exemption for veterans with a 100% permanent and total disability rating.
Okay. You want to read me them one at a time?
You can say you vote yes on all three, or you.
Oh, but I don't. Sorry,
Or-
Mr. Clerk.
Oh, no worries. Vote. You can say the bill number and then say how you vote.
The first bill,
Veterans Graves Upkeep.
yeah, I vote yes. The
Second bill.
The second bill, go ahead.
General's recommendations.
Yes.
Righty.
And the third bill, I vote no.
Thank you. And do you mind turning on your camera briefly?
I do not. Here we go.
Thank you very much. And
Thank
know,
you.
It is beautiful outside today.
It is. It is. Hope you get there soon.
Almost there.
Have a great day. Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.